everybody. Welcome to another episode of Damage Control. This is Mookie, joined here as always with Darth, Bieber. And we're going to go ahead and kind of break down certain topics in regards to the blog post and just kind of highlight as far as what things I feel like, everyone should be mindful of as far as like just not miss an opportunity of the little weekly events that kind of come through. But we're definitely going to be hitting it heavy about the Scourge event because we did get news. And to me, that's the big news of what the blog post is that we got a date set for when the event's going to come out. I'll break it down. We'll talk about it a little bit more in depth as far as what node planning and all that kind of stuff is, character team planning. So we'll get into it today because normally in the second half of Sunday shows we talk about Cosmic Crucible, but it's not much to talk about because my opponent set up nothing but the hand team, so I don't have much.
He's giving you your points. Yeah, he's giving you your points.
He did, and I felt like such a douche for not doing the same. But we'll kind of briefly talk about that as well. All right, but with that being said, let's go ahead and introduce the man that you just heard, Darth. How are you doing, Darth?
Good morning, everybody.
What's up, and good morning to Twitch. We are live on Twitch. We got Half Bake joining us on the conversations. I know that I think there's some other people on there. Sorry, I'm not that good at multitasking with all the names, but good morning to you guys. Who else may be joining us on Twitch? Definitely chime in. You could definitely ask questions at any point. Something that we want to kind of highlight, we'll talk about that. Your questions in between our little segments here, so everything's very informal. This is the the non-professional. This is just kind of a little sidekick that Darth and I do. All right, but let me jump into it. I'm gonna set up the gameplay here for us. Let me get that on. So I wanted to just kind of put a bow and just kind of wrap up the last week's event because that was all the gambit. And it's funny because as I go into the gameplay, I'm not going to be able to kind of pull up the milestones. I didn't prep as far as doing screenshots of it, but I'm pretty sure for our alliance, we're able to complete the entire milestones, which is a big achievement. I know there's a lot of stress and planning beforehand as far as us being able to hit the Glimmer bracelet. That was the big target. But we're able to kind of surpass that milestone, got into the whole 20s, and I think a lot of it had to do with the game kind of leaking out like extra energy, extra days for the event. So all of that was good as far as allowing us to complete the milestones. But the one thing that's not on here in the milestones that was kind of mirroring it a little bit. We talked, it's a Glimmer bracelet was a big thing about the whole monthly dagger for the June event. For us being able to go ahead and try to get the shards off of it. But I came short. I was 82 points short. And I'm guessing, were you about the same for you, Darth?
Exactly the same. Yes.
Yeah, we're 82 short. And what was funny or not funny is that like when that event was wrapping, I was assuming that maybe there was going to be an offer, to kind of last push. And there was one that you had to, it was going to give you like 1,000 points or something like that for $15. And I didn't want to pay for it. I was like, man. But it was an interesting last piece because if I could remember, and I don't have a screenshot, but I know your memory's better than mine. It was like full fragment, like fully crafted mutant pieces, wasn't it? Like the last one.
Yes. I do believe it was all the stuff for Dazzler. Like it was her 16 uniques. It was 18 of the unique pieces, and then it was fully crafted mutant teal 16 pieces.
Yeah.
So it's worth a lot, but yeah, I was in the same spot as you. They last month we were in the same spot, but they sent out really good offers. They sent out $10 offers that had the event points plus an Elite 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like so that made it worth grabbing that up to get those last pieces, but they had nothing like that this month.
Yeah.
The closest thing was that $15, and it wasn't worth it to me.
Yeah, no, it's same. It wasn't worth it. The only curiosity I would have loved to have pushed for it is I was wondering if it would have been the same kind of crafted pieces towards Mystique. I'm not Mystique, but Rogue.
Yeah, I think it probably would be.
Yeah, so that's why I was like,
if they shared a piece.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering about, and I kind of wanted to have that in my back pocket ready. But so come server reset right around, was it June 30th, at the end of the day, the end of the month, they decided to kind of bump this event on here and start getting things ready for the Mighty Thor, something like her whole monthly campaign. And there was a hiccup within the system, within the game. So at least the picture that I understand is that they had them side by side. It was like they had the Summer Thunder and they still had the Dagger event going on. And of course, they had offers going on already for the Mighty Thor one that you can start purchasing. And I think it was like maybe $5, $7, depending on what country. But basically, it was somewhere within the minor. It wasn't like a big expense, but I mean, well, it was something that was like a fairly reasonable offer. And if you purchased that, on one side, I saw a mobile gamer saying that he was purchasing to go ahead and get a jump start on this event right here for Mighty Thor, but instead, it ended up completing his entire Dagler event, and he was able to finish off those 82 pieces because he was in the same boat as you and I were. So, and I think some others that may have not even purchased an event, they logged on to the game and they were able to get these milestones like completely. Like they only show one on here, but it was
That
like
one, the other one.
it was over here on this side. Yeah, they were able to go ahead and get the whole entire event complete. So, were you? I guess the question I have. I mean, there's so many kind of stories. Bottom line, there's different stories, different things that happen to different people. But for you, were you logged in at that moment?
Was? 10 minutes later I was. I did not complete the event, and whatever those guys did to get the event completed did not happen to be.
Okay. Yeah, and I was in a situation where this is during the week, during the recess, so I'm kind of doing my family stuff, and I'm over there at the soccer practice for my kid, which has zero internet reception. So I can see there was some excitement and some buzz going on. I'm like, it was one of those FOMO things. I'm like, what am I missing out on? And that's how my feeling was. I was like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. I guess at the end of it, they're trying to fix it. People are pissed off. I mean, you can go into different Reddit stories if you want to read and kind of see the different complaints because depending on what side of the fence you're on, you're going to have different sides and different theories of being upset. For me, I'm already used to it. I guess my take off of all of this kind of mix up is that I hate to say that I'm already used to it, but I guess I am used to it. But I'm not going to let it overwhelm me or kind of take my personal day to day. I use the game just to escape. If I want to purchase something that kind of within my gameplay style, I do that. I'm not a big whale and stuff like that. I just kind of do the little microtransactions. The only ones I well out on are the new characters, right? So this whole mix up didn't have anything to do with my normal game day-to-day gameplay style. But I guess for you, I mean, I don't want to, speak in terms of what's your thought process, but I mean, what's your take? I mean, is it something that you still feel they need to right the wrong, or like, what's your overall take about the whole situation on that?
This is where I feel like a bitter bitch, dude. Like, we have a guy in our alliance who was on at the time, and whatever happened to let guys complete the whole event, it let him complete it all, and I think that's great. That says to me that he can take the month off. Like, he doesn't have to worry about hitting all of these things with the bracelets and the things like that, and to do that. I mean, the rest of the alliance is still going to need him, so I'm sure he'll put in his part for the alliance one. But the part that bothers me the most is 2 months in a row, I've come less than 100 shards short of completing it. The first month I made a purchase. This month I decided not to, and so I let the last tier of rewards go. I'm going to miss that again this month if the math is the same. But other guys who didn't spend a penny are going to collect it, and they've collected it already. Yeah. I think that personally for me, give me enough free points to get the last 2 milestones, and I would be totally happy. I'd be like, fine, I'm going to complete it anyway. My thing is I don't feel like I'm going to complete it without paying, and they've given it to some people already. And their quote-unquote fix didn't seem to fix anything for me, because it didn't do anything about the milestones those people already claimed that everybody else still has to work for. They just said they can't be in the leaderboard rewards at the end of the month. Well, who gives a shit about the leaderboard rewards? Like, those mean nothing in these kind of events. What means things in these events is actually clearing all of the milestones and collecting all that stuff. So it's not changed my opinion about the game. I'm not, gonna cry. I'm just gonna be bitter while I play the shit out of the game and do my best. Mm-hmm. So I'm not like I said, it's not cool. Like, it just seems to be another screw up. I can't believe they did it again. I guess I can believe they did it again, and I should be more used to it. But it's God, I hate the term feels bad, but it makes me feel bad that I know that I'm gonna have to spend to get that last reward when Scopely gave it out to some people as an accident. and then they can't take away what they gave people already because it had been they didn't put the game into immediate maintenance mode and fix everything. They just let it go for over a day, and they've still let it go. So nothing actually got fixed. It's the weirdest way to do everything. It is like, man, if you're telling me that I need to be on at reset every day to catch all of your screw ups so that I can get rewarded for those, and it's something you're going to take away from everybody else, which will give me an advantage. So I'll tell you right now, the guy in our alliance, he already opened he's got a 4-star Thor. He didn't pay for her. He's got a 4-star Mighty Thor. And he's got all that gear and all that everything else. As much as I love the guy and he's in our alliance and it helps us out because it's a war defensive team, that's not fair. And they did nothing to fix it. They did nothing to level the playing field. The right thing to do would have been to give everybody enough of those stupid Mjolnir points to finish their Summer of Thunder and then put out this second one, or put out a whole nother one that you could do for the thing. But what they've done is not right. It's not enough. It's not enough to drive me away from the game. It's just enough to make me cry and be bitter about it.
Yeah. Well said. I mean, yeah, so I understand that. And just like Half Baked just pointed out, even about the people that are spending $100. So that was the other angle that some of the heavy wells were upset. They're like, if you're going to allow those people to go ahead and keep the points, then that puts them even more on an high rate because they know they're spending to kind of keep themselves ahead of the game. And now there's someone that didn't have to spend that's keeping up with them. So
right.
There's that point of it. And then had one other point that Half Baked mentioned was that there was some people that got that inbox message. And
one of our guys got that as well.
Did you got that one or no?
I did not. Rufus did, and he posted it in our chat.
Yeah.
Remember? And he posted his reply, said, "Are you threatening me?"
Yeah, he gave him the cornholio, the Beavis.
That's right, he did.
Yeah, so yeah, that message on there basically was...
That is a very aggressive message.
Yeah, I'll read it because I don't know if I can put it up on the screen fast enough. But actually, I could put it on the screen fast enough because now let's take a look at it. Anyways, I'll take it off. But I'll read it. Basically, it was he's like, we found that you found to have, or it says, my bad, I'm already chopping it up. It says you were found to have been June meta offer exploit fix. You're free to continue playing the game, but your score for this event has been erased, and you will now be barred from participating further. Its removal only applies to Agatha Milestone Open. You'll be eligible for the next event, but we will be watching your account very closely. So
this is we did a screw up. You didn't actually exploit, but you were somebody who benefited from it. So now we're watching your account very closely.
Yeah.
What?
There were just layers of stuff that just happened. I guess that's the thing. That's why I'm so jumbled about like how do I even paint the picture? Because there were so many different things that happened to different people and stuff like that. At the end of it all, that there's complaints happening all over the place, and hopefully Scopely has their own damage control to diffuse all of that. So, and hey, speaking of our damage control, I'm gonna kind of segue off of all of that, but this is really going off topic. But have you been watching the Miss Marvel at all? Have you been able to have time for that series on Disney?
No, I have not.
There's a damage control in there. That's why I brought it up. That's why I'm bringing it up because I am watching it. And there's like a little team in there that comes out there and they're like, I'm like, oh man, hey man, it's just funny to kind of put. I mean, that's the name of our little show here, right? And then I hear it on the Marvel side of things, which gets me all giddy. I don't know why, but it does. I'm like, oh, that's freaking awesome. There's damage control. And I told my kids because they're all watching it and they're all laughing because they know you and I do this on Sundays. And they're like, we hear one of the characters named Darth or Mookie. We're gonna lose our shit, Dad. So kind of, so am I. So that would be hilarious, but that's a long shot. But anyway, so we're watching a series, and it's interesting. All right, so I'm gonna segue into the blog post now. So with all that excitement, here comes the new excitement as far as what's on the horizon. Big one. I'm gonna do my best as far as going through like a little. I wanted to time myself to see if I can get through this in a minute because I don't want to kind of highlight too deep on some of the stuff because most of the conversations can be about this Famine Scourge event. So of course they bring it up. They talk about her event being rolled out on July 6th, and we'll come around the bin and talk about that in a second. But let's go into the next part because I was curious about like another thing that's coming out on July 6th is going to be this the the Red Stars. And they're talking about during the Red Star event, the feature ones are going to be all the characters that are going to be on your Node 5 and Node 10s with the Inhumans, the A-Force, and the Young Avengers. Do you have any slight curiosity of opening your red stars for this or not?
No,
Okay, I figured that. That was what I was
no.
thinking.
The big thing that tells me is that we're not going to have a new character till after Scourge event, or at least until partway through the Scourge event.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Which is
interesting.
good to give us the week off of buying and working on new characters to let us play their Scourge event.
Yeah. Okay. So that's coming on Wednesday. So the event drops along with the red stars towards the feature characters for the Scourge. Now this one is talking about the Summer Thunder. I didn't. Oh yeah. So this one right here. This is interesting to me. The coordinated assault. So now we got another alliance milestone for 7 days, and this is gonna be
Doing that
dropping
coordinated
tomorrow.
assault.
Yeah.
That's just spending ISO energy. We've done that 4 times now.
Yeah. And so this is just kind of whatever. This is all just towards the monthly Mighty Thor event, right? We're just kind of looking to get these fragments. The next one that I wanted to highlight is this one right here. This Victory Blueprint. To me, this is a big thing that everyone, and I wanted to kind of pause and take a moment on it because this is about leveling up or getting the level 4 blue ions. And to me, it's a big deal because Doom 3 is coming around the corner. And I'm just wondering if, like, in order to enter certain difficulties, that you're going to have level 4 ion characters. I mean, have you even jumped into the rumor mill yet to kind of see what type of, what type of traits you need to jump into Doom 3, or have you heard anything, Darth?
No, I've not heard anything.
Yeah, neither have I. I was just curious. I mean, so that's just something that, like, that's a big push to getting your certain key characters up and have that advantage on certain matchups, certain game modes, and so forth. And this is one. It's a 7-day event. They've been doing. Would you say have they been doing this weekly or bi-weekly? Do you know what the frequency is? This blueprint?
Now that I can't remember.
Yeah, because I don't feel like it's been weekly. Maybe it's been like every 2 weeks or
This been
one.
bi-weekly, the Victory Blueprint, maybe?
Probably, right? Yeah, but so I guess my point of it's not something that's on a recurring basis. So when you see this, definitely go ahead and start speeding up your campaign energies or whatever, the credits, everything that you need to do to go ahead and complete it. Because on here they go into the whole numbers and they talk about, like, just on your moderate gameplay, you're gonna earn 90% of the rewards. But if you're more aggressively and highly engaged, that's how they put it, you can earn up to 120%, which is going to complete everything, which is going to allow you to take another character up to level 4 Blue ISO. So the question I have for you, how many characters do you have at level 4?
1.
Okay, and that's your Morgan Le Fay?
Mm-hmm.
I think I have 2. So
Ooh.
I have Kestrel.
Dormammu, huh?
Nah, not
Oh,
Dormammu
Kestrel.
yet. No, I have Kestrel because I use her so much, and I think she's such a niche character plug-in on certain situations that, and of course I have her at 7 red as well, which is another factor. But yeah, so she's my second one. Of course, Morgan Le Fay is the other. And on this, I'm just talking about this because if you can get another one, why not start to get Rogue ready for it? You know what I mean? So, like, for those that haven't been paying attention to it, definitely take advantage of it this week. That's coming out on Friday. So this one's going to be Friday. It comes out on July 8th. I believe, yeah, right there.
That's the
So
one that does war credits, right? So if you're really looking to maximize those, if you don't think you're going to be able to do it, what you do is you save your war rewards in your inbox,
yes.
and then you can open them up after the event starts. I don't do that because I can't let anything sit in my inbox. But people do it, and it gives them a big advantage on some of these milestones.
Correct. Yeah. So I definitely would probably look into doing that on Monday and Wednesday's war and having those saved. But that's, to me, that's a big deal. And then the other thing to highlight was it's not a big deal. I guess, I mean, those are the main things. The quick rumble was the other one, just to get some more of those fragments, and that's going to be the AIM team coming out. But I passed it somewhere, but that's just one of the weekly rumble events. It's going to be the AIM team.
They got a good blitz this week. That was something I read in there. That's good. Lady Deathstrike.
Yes.
I will actually be blitzing for her this week.
Yeah,
Because if I get 100 shards, it'll put me up beyond 7 stars, so then I can be done. I don't have to farm her every day.
yeah, it's the toughest nails blitz. So that one's going to be rolling out tonight. So tonight you'll be able to get your 100 shards and go after that. Start working on it. But yeah, the last
One
week
thing
right
while we're
now.
doing it,
Uh-huh.
the character releases. You remember when they gave us that list of characters that they were going to release a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and they were just like, "We're going to work on your character availability." They have not done that shit yet. We're still in the middle of that list, and they've done nothing for it. This is a garbage character availability, where they're putting Punk into an orb and daggers coming out of the orb. This is the garbage stuff that's awful, and why we have so many unfarmable characters is crazy because it's shit like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Remember how bitter I was when they put out that list and said we're going to release these characters, and all I said is all they did was give us a list of characters that aren't farmable. Well, they're still there. That's still exactly what that list is for the most part. They've not sped up their character release at all. They've just put out a list at one point in time to shut everybody up.
yeah, yeah. Having Punk in there is, yeah, it's underwhelming. But if anything, I mean, I guess Dagger's finally coming out. So if you haven't got her 7, you can start purchasing her as arena credits. So to me, that's the bigger one. Punk he's only niche for the raids for that team, but other than that, you're not gonna have much use for him outside of it. And then of course Agatha is the other one that's been moving into the basic ultimates pools and so forth. So you may have a long shot as far as opening up some orbs for her just randomly. But that's about it. So let's jump back. I mean, the big one, the big news, right? This one right here, the Scourge event. So, so I guess what I want to know is, have you been peeking at stuff like I have? I think last week I showed some of these little screenshots, right? About what nodes are going to be on there.
Yep.
And then people are already doing like these infographics. Same thing. This is just a fancier version of it. Now, this one right here from Boyan, he starts breaking out the waves. Have you seen this one yet?
No. That's a little too in depth for me.
So the city one, nodes 1 and 2 are going to be the city characters that you can go ahead and create. Node 3 and 4, your mutants. And then I guess this is a better one to follow right here. So node 1 and 2, here's your city. Node 4 and 5 is your mutants. Node 5, and then node 5 is going to be that specialty character teams with the Inhumans, A-Force, and Young Avengers. So that's 5 and node 10. Node 6, 7 are your villains. And node 8 and 9, they're not sure. I guess on difficulty 5 and up, you're going to have Cosmic Mystic. With the lower levels will be just Cosmic. So is there any particular, as you're looking at this, and I know this is just off the cuff, but is there anything that you feel that you need to work on? Like, do you feel like you got to work on city characters, mutant, villains, Cosmic? I mean, do you feel like if any of these are going to be kind of a trouble spot for you at all?
No. I have a pretty developed roster, and I have a lot of gear invested in a lot of different big characters, so it's not a worry for me. I think the part that a lot of people are going to have problems with might be the mutant section. I mean, there's a lot of mutants, but I just feel that one might be a little harder. I don't think they're going to allow your Axemen to come in and just run it. They know you've got some powerful mutants, and the city might also, the city's also weird because you've got your one of your best city teams in your Young Avengers that you have to save for nodes 5 and 10. So it's going to really depend. Like I just remember the Scourge last time, and it all really depends on who. Like if you're going to set cooldowns and stuff like that for node 5 at the higher difficulties, because I remember the big part of it for me was getting a team to die with to wipe with one character, 2 characters left, so that I could go in with my web warriors and like Dr. Voodoo and burn some cooldowns by doing a bunch of basics, so that when I walked into node 5, I had an easier time. So I think that it's all going to depend on how it goes. It's going to be weird. The best piece of advice I could give, even for the mutants, is to go, like, I'm going to go through it on on difficulty 6 with no scourges the first time. And I'm gonna unlock Rogue, and I'm gonna gear up and level her up, and then that gives me a brand new team for nodes 3 and 4 to see how it's gonna do. And of course, you remember how their efficiency points were all screwed up last time, and if they fixed it, it's not gonna run like it did last time, because it's gonna be better to go in with one team and wipe it all in one shot than to do what I just said and to make it so your team dies with just one or two characters left, and then you go in and actually your efficiency points are better because it took less attacks on your second attempt. So hopefully they've fixed all that.
Yeah. And then this infographic right here talks about those new scourges. So, and I haven't really looked into it in detail yet because I truthfully go in the way you talk about. I just go in that difficulty 6 first. I don't even go to any of the scourges on. Like you said, I mean, last time there was some bugs in which you can get free points where the scourges weren't even working. So I wouldn't be surprised that it would happen again. So just kind of keep your ear open and kind of just follow other content creators. I know Dorky Dad's can be very, very heavy in his playing over here. So that's kind of where he was a lifesaver. Going back into the concept that you talked about as far as how you can play certain nodes to go ahead and put in certain characters to get their energy or the cooldowns all the way fully maxed and ready for the big nodes like 5 and 10 or whatever. Because I think that same concept is kind of there when you look at the Inhuman squad. I think they have some city trait, not the but the Young Avengers. So there's going to be some characters here in this little mashup that you can use beforehand to probably get their cooldowns set just right for you. Because who knows what you're facing? Because of course over here on Boylons, they're showing these waves. And you can find this on his Discord page or screenshot it here if y'all want. But yeah, so it looks like they're gonna have a total of 12 enemies on that node 5. And the wave 1 are these top characters with the Yellow Jacket, Strange, Evil Strange, Zemo, Deathpool, Taskmaster, Yo-Yo. So they definitely got some interesting team there. And I'm looking at this and I'm trying to think about what team I would be countering it with. And then Sunfire shows up. So that's gonna be kind of interesting. So that's on node 5, and then not worried about the other two. I wonder why this is highlighted in red. But node 10, they got 12 enemies as well. And here comes Mighty Thor with Valkyrie. You get to see her out there. Icarus. That's going to be interesting on the first wave. That's who you're dealing with. But we'll see. I mean, of course, this is just kind of, I'm not sure how they got the information. I think I remember back when something about Tana sharing something, and this is how he came off of it, off of a Tana video, I believe is how this got all created. So we'll see. But it's all interesting. I mean, this, I think, truthfully, for me, this is my favorite event within the game modes. I mean, how would you rank this? I mean, I know you always talk about Tower, and you're still waiting for Tower, aren't you?
Waiting for Tower. Yes, I love Tower. I fell in love with Tower the last 2 Tower modes, and then as soon as I was like full on like in love with Tower and was building teams for fucking Tower mode, they didn't give me one last patch.
Yeah.
So, but this is this is a grind fest for me. I can remember the last 2 weeks, the last time when Morgan's event came around, and it was 2 days of a lot of fun, and then 3 or 4 days of messing off, and then it was 6 days of doing nothing that feels like but nodes 5 and 10 and resetting until the RNG went right. So hopefully this isn't so bad for that. But like I think we talked about it before, with all that grind, when I finally did it, I did get a 6-star Morgan Le Fay. I didn't get to the 7 that I really wanted, but I did get a 6-star out of it. There was a sense of accomplishment, like when I was a kid and I beat Mario the first time, like, and you beat Bowser and you jump over him and you save the princess. Man, it feels good. So it felt good to finally beat it at a high difficulty and to get a 6-star. So I'm looking forward to that part again, and I'm hoping it's not as grindy because it's not as RNG dependent.
Yeah, that's funny. You brought back my memory. I was playing in
Mm-hmm.
between work on that last day, the last 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and just really trying to get to the top score because the marker kept getting pushed back,
Oh
and you
yeah.
had to kind of pay attention to where you were at on that leaderboard. And I came up short as far as hitting I don't think I got a 6-star Morgan. I think I got her at 5. Cause yeah, I know I'm a star level down from you. So I was like, damn, I was couple points off of it. If I just felt like I would have taken a little bit more patience off of it, I could have grinded my way out of it. But it's just one of those. I mean, but the point is that like it is depending on how you look at it. That's the way, like you talked about Mario. I mean, I remember those late nights and just trying to grind away at certain stages to pass, and that's kind of the same concept within this game mode right here. Just the feeling that I had off of it too. So, but yeah, to kind of wrap it up on the conversation side, I'm gonna go through each of the kind of just review the teams and just in theory about who we will kind of start setting up on the nodes. So I'm gonna jump back onto the gameplay here. When we know that on the first two nodes are going to be your city teams, and of course we got our web warriors are probably the ultimate team to kind of have all together. Like if you're thinking about raiding, I mean, are you going to kind of have a mashup, or are you going to kind of go in more with the DD5 concept of your city with like Cloak and Dagger or something like who you're thinking about using as your city team?
I'm going to tell you that Cloak and Dagger and Shang-Chi are probably going to be the all-stars of the city nodes.
Yeah.
Web Warriors are great in raids, and we found out last Scourge that they're okay in Scourge if they dodge. And even then, you don't want to put Miles in there because Miles is on your on your Young Avengers team as the 6th, so he can be used in nodes 5 and 10. So you wouldn't want to not have him available.
Yeah.
Just in case, because it's all about completing the nodes at some point, whether you get a good efficiency score or not. If you don't complete the node, you don't get the points for the node, so your efficiency matters 0. So I know that in the last Scourge event, if I'd had one more character of full health to bring in on the last node after I'd burnt my first team, I would have beaten the Scourge that I failed on the last day.
Yeah.
So I'd hate to see him wasted. Like the real rock stars are ones you're using, like the put Squirrel Girl on that team that I told you before, and Miss Marvel, and you'd probably be rocking. But I am thinking that for the first time you're going to be able to get through with almost. But once you add all those Scourges, it might be Web Warriors, but you have a reasonable amount of city heroes you can take in. There's a lot of speed in some of these city teams. White Tiger is absurdly fast, and she comes out with a turn 1 ability block, so she might be more important than you think on just finishing or getting through a node or starting an opening barrage without dying. Honestly, the Heroes for Hire duo of Misty Knight and Colleen Wing are pretty awesome if you've got reasonably leveled and geared Heroes for Hire. Colleen Wing it does damage everywhere. It's not quite what it is in War, but it's insane, and the bleeds will kill somebody. But yeah, it's going to mostly be the teams you got. You have symbiotes to choose from. You have Web Warriors, and you've got Heroes for Hire, and then the new Warriors plus Shang-Chi. You don't have to necessarily use. I wouldn't use Shang-Chi with the rest of the Heroes for Hire, but you could put him on the 3-pack with Misty and Colleen and Cloak and Dagger and maybe get some stuff done.
Yeah. So for sure, I think those MVPs you hit on is going to be Cloak and Dagger and Shang-Chi. Kind of look at it that way, but yeah, you just said it. There's a lot of different theory packages you can start looking into there.
It's gonna make this so fun.
Yeah, I know it is. So let's see the second section, which node 3 and 4, yeah, it's gonna be the mutant. So let me see what we got going on in mutant. And I think you man, that's why I like talking to you on Sundays, man, because you hit on the big point. I honestly believe this is where people are going to be struggling as well. I truly do. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of people, I was going to say, because we're looking at to that, whatever event, the Gambit event, and we're kind of peeking at our players, our alliances rosters. And I noticed that, like, besides your Doomray team, which is your Axemen, a lot of people don't have anybody else geared up. And I'm somewhat in that position too, because everybody else that are mutants are all specific to war. And some people like the game mode, some don't, and it's just not like a daily thing to kind of farm or have like that you need to have like those mutants for. I can see where they're going to be on the back burner. So when you look at it, once those Axemen guys die off, and if they die off, depending on your difficulty settings, you're going to be kind of stretching as far as trying to come up with Phoenix to seeing where she's at, the uncanny.
Especially because you don't want to burn your villains in this part either, and there's a couple really strong mutant villains.
Yeah.
So you don't want to burn up your Emma. You don't want to burn up your Weapon X. Because you're probably going to need those in the villain nodes, because those are your strongest villains, period, not just your strongest mutants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and we found out last time that the Dad Bros didn't do much together. But I mean, Dad Bros are mutants. That is a mutant team, and they could get something done. Uncanny could work. There's probably a really good Uncanny Axeman mashup that is good for at least one node, because your Phoenix will die and you won't be able to bring her back. So, but if some way you can get through the first node and you can work that through on the second mutant node, it doesn't matter if your Phoenix dies and you can't bring her back, because you won't need her again for because she's not a cosmic mystic or a villain.
Yeah. And the new ones that have been added to this list are the Unlimited X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, depending on your star levels and stuff like that, who knows where people are starting to work on them, because normally if they don't have them farmable or haven't been, free to play approach, you're not going to be working on those guys. But I noticed that they're sneaky. They're good. The Unlimited X-Men.
How good? On the global node, was it the global nodes? I think it was, or the villain nodes. I can't remember where I used my Darkhold, but I used my Darkhold, and they were amazing in the Scourge last time. On my subsequent runs to unlocking Morgan Le Fay. So that's what I'm thinking. The first run, if you do it level 6 or whatever, make sure you max out the milestones. You'll unlock her, and you can level up Rogue, and then you'll have a full unlimited X-Men team.
Yep. Good aspect. Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. I will be definitely using Rogue as soon as she's unlocked. All right, so that's the mutant section.
Cable's gonna be a rock star, maybe. It really depends. Like characters that manipulate turn meter, I remember last time were key in this at higher levels, just to getting the nodes started. So, Cable in the mutant section may be more important than we think.
Yeah. All right. I'm not gonna jump into the mashup on nodes 5 and 10. I mean, we kind of already been talking about that each week.
Discuss that to death.
Yeah. So y'all can look into that.
Build up your young Avengers.
Yeah, that's all you need to know is young Avengers on that one.
For now.
Maybe and then A-Force as your secondary team. All right. So then the villains. And you just kind of highlighted that a little bit. So it is going to be those mutant villains are going to be the big ones to kind of look at. But the other, I'm just
look at you,
Dormammu. Yeah, did you know I got my
so jealous? Yeah, I did. I seen it all. I'm just seething over here.
Obviously, I guess you can use him into this node if you have a Dormammu.
Is he a cosmic mystic?
Yes.
Yeah, then I wouldn't use him here at all. I would use him in my Cosmic Mystic section and make sure my Cersei and Icarus lived forever. You're gonna kick my ass this Scourge because of Dormammu?
I don't know.
Doing level 9 and shit?
No, because you got more patience for grinding away. If you probably will do about, for every one run I'm doing, you beat 10 up on me. So we'll see. But yeah, no, these are interesting teams. I mean, the villains, there's certain mashups on here. I mean, I guess overall, you got like the Weapon X squad, right? Is what I remember last time on villains. And then, of course, you talked about Emma.
Yeah. So. And now you got Morgan Le Fay and Agatha and Heartless Strange. You got most of the Darkhold team.
Yeah.
So there's some good choices in the villain section.
Yeah. All right.
Which maybe it will be better. Maybe it will be better to wind up using Weapon X in your mutant section as a whole team, because you've got enough villains to cover the other side. You know, who knows? And if they don't die, you can always use your Weapon X in this section too.
Yeah.
And actually, it may work out better. You may be able to get your cooldowns all set up on your Weapon X team before they come into a villain node to kill it all.
Yeah, and right now I'm just thinking about that cosmic mystic, because I think on this one, this is when they're trying to like really somewhat narrow down the options. You know, like on here we don't have rows on rows to choose from. Right. So it all depends, like you said, having that Icarus and Cersei combination, and then plug it in, I guess, with Deadpool, Silver Surfer. I mean, that's kind of usually what you use on those Mystic. And who else?
Adam Warlock, he's going to be great.
Yeah, Adam Warlock.
And if you've built up your Thor and your Jane Foster, maybe them. It'll be a fun place to test them.
Yeah. Okay. There's Loki. Oh, and then there's speed meter with Loki. You talked about speed control, so Loki may come into play as well.
And that gives you a third Asgardian on the field for them to smash into.
Yeah.
And Hela, you could run almost an Asgardians team there and see if you can get Thor. I don't know. It would just be a fun place to test him, if nothing else.
Yeah. That is 14. That's 5.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. We'll kind of wrap it up. I mean, I know it's a long recording there. I'll figure out how I'll kind of upload this, probably in 2 parts. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys tuning in, checking this out on YouTube. Appreciate those on Twitch that were on here chiming in. And but yeah, definitely get ready for this one. This event is rolling out on Wednesday, so I'm definitely going to be ready for it. Otherwise, everything else has been going on within the game and all the little hiccups and stuff like that. What made me really think about this, Darth, you and I, we're not full-time content creators or anything like that. I mean, to me, it's just a conversation, not even much of content creating, just conversating. And it made me feel like some of the Scopely guys also do Scopely as at least within the Marvel Strike Force, like that's their half job. I was like, man, they put as much time and effort as I do on my videos, is what I thought.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I wonder what the real day job is. It feels like they're just doing this on secondary. But yeah, no, just kind of keep it at it. Just enjoy your alliance mates, enjoy the cover the community. I mean, that's for me the bigger picture is where I play and I enjoy it. So all the little hiccups, I just take it in stride but definitely understand, like the way Darth said, that it kind of annoys you a little bit when people can get the free stuff and I didn't. But
That's right. I'm a child. Let's
yeah,
make sure we point that out. It's only because I'm a child. I also want the free stuff and I want the month off. Like,
yeah,
if they had a package at the beginning of the month to be like, hey, you can fill up this month-long milestone and not have to worry about every event the whole way through, I'd be like, ooh, that might be worth that money.
yeah, no, 100%. All right, well, we'll wrap it up. See y'all guys. Can catch us on. We'll still be on Twitch a little bit, kind of wrapping up the show. But otherwise, YouTube. We'll see y'all next week. And yeah, I'll take it easy. Enjoy your week. Bye bye.